can look at something called routing. In the past, or at least in the previous classes, you did it with the backend. So the backend was responsible for listening on specific routes and returning the page based on that. You agree with me? You all did it with Express and stuff. So you can say /home to this, /API to this, /thing. This is backend routing. So you send the request, and the backend will decide what to give you. You agree with me that your code is living in the backend, and if you don't agree, just raise your hand because I'm trying to have a discussion with you. But now we are trying to build SPA, single page applications, which is mostly everything is running on the browser. So when you click a link, it doesn't refresh or go to the server. Just a second. Oh yeah, I'm recording.
Okay, thanks.
I've just started recording. Yeah, I've just started recording. Yeah. So when you do a request, when you click something, you don't wait for the backend to receive the request, do something, and return your page. You handle that in your front end. So the front end knows about routing. The front end knows about everything. This is sort of course, this is not a complex definition of an SPA, single page application, but it's something that matches our head. When you go to Instagram or I don't know, any web app like Netflix, they don't really refresh the app. You click, it will open a movie, you close it, it will go back. So it's like an SPA. You feel that there is one page and the content is changing dynamically. And React and these frameworks were really built for this purpose, to have super dynamic applications.
But the user handle everything.
The JavaScript on the client handles everything without waiting for the back. The backend usually provides JSON data. This is the only thing. It's like this is the responsibility of the backend.
Okay, when you are going to talk about the connection between the website and the MySQL for sending, save the information in the.
But we already did that with the API. That's the responsibility of an API.
No, he's asking about the database.
Yes.
Yeah, but
exchanging.
We used API of the GitHub. After that, we made our API for our website at the backend, isn't it?
So yeah, exactly. So you build your API with Node.js.
Okay.
So the same way we are requesting Giphy and GitHub, you request your own API. There's nothing special about requesting your own API.
But we have to store this information in the database.
But that's covered by the database course.
But they didn't teach us to connect the website to the.
You don't connect the website. You request an API. So you have you built APIs using Node.js?
Yes.
So
with the contact list.
Or the contact list, for example, that was a famous example.
No, I cannot explain.
You remember?
For example, like
the student contact with the name, the email, and the number.
Yeah.
We build
No, we store it in a JSON file.
we have done it with the
Yes,
post of Postman.
we have done the API JSON file, but we didn't connect the database to the website.
which website?
For example, if we make a website, we didn't connect the
But-
MySQL.
The thing that you should get is connecting to web. For example, when you are using React from the front end,
Yes.
you don't know exactly. So do we know how GitHub is storing the data or how Giphy is storing the data?
No.
We don't know that.
No.
That's not the responsibility of the front end, and it will never be.
Okay.
The backend exposes an API. So you have, for example, /API.
Okay.
So my site /API
Yes.
/contact list
Okay.
on the backend
Okay.
as a route. So the front end will say, get me this. And in your route in the backend, you can connect to the database, you can fetch a JSON file, you can do whatever you like. But the backend is, of course, is done in the
I
Node.js.
can understand you.
Yeah.
I really can understand. But this is the software that we installed.
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't know how should I get information from this software.
You mean from a database?
Yes.
But I think it's already covered in the Node.js course. You didn't connect to a database?
No, on the database course we have seen how to connect the
Node.js,
database.
JavaScript.
Yeah, with the JavaScript. Yeah.
Yeah, so
connect. Yeah.
They save in
But I
local
didn't.
in they save local in the, for example, file.
Now you can connect the database software on your computer to the website. You can do it.
no, you
Yeah.
don't connect it to website.
But
You
how
need-
you
You
should
connect it to your server,
You
and
connect
then
it
from
to
the
your
server
server.
generate a JSON that you handle it. Like
So, for example, GitHub, we use the API, or Giphy API.
Yeah.
The Giphy API. There is a database and there is an API. So when we say give us /Giphy/.com/trending,
Yeah.
that /trending is a route in Express.
Okay.
Inside that route in Express, it will fetch data from database and return it as JSON.
Okay.
So the part of like connecting to the database and returning JSON on the backend, it's done in the Node.js course. At least I assume so.
Okay.
Because it's not, we cannot cover like full
No,
stack
that's
on
fine. Maybe I
React.
have to study by myself.
No, it should be covered here.
Yeah. I didn't learn this
That's
here at all.
that's pretty weird. If I
No, I didn't learn this.
because I'm thinking like since the first
Yeah.
week, I thought that you are already good with
No,
that.
exactly.
Yeah,
The first
yeah,
day I
yeah.
told to
Database is after the Node.js. So they teach the.
No, but what I mean is like you know how to write express routes, and after that you know how to connect
Yeah.
to database. So it should be straightforward for you. It's like you know React and APIs, and you learn Node.js. But no one should actually explain to you how to connect them because it's just HTTP. So this is what I'm saying. Like if you know how to connect to the database and you know how to do route in Express,
Can you go in the
It shouldn't
folder and
be,
see what's in there?
For example, you know, now just imagine you have the form on your website and you get some information from the person.
Maybe
You have to
source
store
code is kind of weird.
this information somewhere. Okay, now we know how to make an API or make a JSON or whatever, but I don't know how should
Oh, it's this one,
send
okay.
and
you just
store those information in the database.
that's a
but that we have done it with Marta. You remember?
Okay, I didn't. I cannot read.
We connected. You know, the
Oh,
last
that's
week we
nice.
connected the database with the server, and then
Yeah,
access
it's
we
weird,
did
I don't
npm slash
last assignment
install
you gave.
Okay,
install
maybe,
MySQL.
maybe
You
we can
remember?
try again.
Then we do MySQL and we get the password of the database to access it. So your server,
Yes.
you know, that's how we connect the server. You connect the database. Then from the server you access your database to get the you know the data, and you create your JSON file. From that JSON file, you send it to the client so that the client can get okay, give me that from the API. So it doesn't have to
Okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's completely fine. But something that you should retain is like if you are doing front end,
Yeah.
the only thing that you will see is like you send JSON.
Yeah, that's how you connect.
You get JSON.
database. Then from there you get.
This is like I've been doing this for 3 years.
No.
I send JSON, I get
I've done
JSON.
something.
I don't write any backend.
I've done something.
I do it sometimes when there is no one to handle my if there is a bug and there is no developer to solve
The
my
reader.
bug.
You remember the application that I was making about the reader?
Yeah.
That's how it is.
I think maybe
Oh,
it's
yes.
not really, do you know the?
We do string.
So in your express route, so for example, you say slash
Okay.
trending,
Yeah.
you receive it in your express route, and you say select from,
Mm.
and you return the JSON. But React doesn't know. React only knows that the URL will return JSON.
Mm.
So
You do connection query and then you
You made a
you post it as a when you do user. you
exactly,
post it.
this is like you can probably show him this or something. Yeah. So.
Right, you understand. Yeah.
So as we said, like you have been doing like backend routing, but now we will try to do front end, which is anything you request, it will return you one page, and based on JavaScript, we will do stuff. So basically, we can. So I will open Code Sandbox.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Basically, so the basic idea is. Yeah, so in the browser we have something called location. So if you say window.location, it's an object, it's a location object that stores information about the current page, query params, origin, protocol, all this stuff. It's provided by, this is nothing related to React. Okay, and in the window.location, so you know that we can say window.location or we can say location straight away. It's the same. You know that it's the same.
Because we are already in the
You are already in the window. Yeah, exactly. Even if you do x equal to, it's window.x. So anything you put inside the global scope, it's related to window. Anyways, so we say location. Location is an object that has a lot of informations. Assign, yeah, we can zoom in a bit. Hash, host, hostname, href, origin, path name, port, protocol. So if I will do this, I don't think Google will work with that. But if we do test, you can see path name is equal test. Okay? So you can see path name is test. Why? Because I have slash test here.
Yeah.
Make sense? So if you take it simply, base it on the string here, we can say if string equal home, render this component. If string equal this, render this component. So we can render components conditionally, based on that.
Oh, so you can do it in the same page. So
Yeah, exactly.
Using the location itself.
Yeah, precisely. This is the idea. We will use a package to abstract this, but I'm just showing you the basic idea. The basic idea is like we know which path name. So for example, there is test. There is also home. So now we can see location dot path name. It's product slash Google Home. Product slash Google Home. Okay? So we can say if location dot path name, we can sort a variable called path. If path equal this, render this component, one component. If path equal to do, render to do component. If path, so this is the basic idea about how routing is it's done in the front end. Do you get the idea? Of course, there is no coding here, but I'm just trying to give you a mental model so you can reason about it. But for our stuff, there is packages. So there is something called React Router. This is a package, a React package. You install it from npm, and it gives you a lot of helpers about routing. It supports web and native, but we will go with native.
What is the difference between web and native?
Native is for native apps, mobile apps.
Okay.
Yeah, because you can build mobile apps with React.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Anyways, there's also another package called Reach Router. There's I don't know if you know this guy, if someone saw this guy, Ryan Florence before. He's really he's a really pioneer in the React community. If you follow him on Twitter and stuff, he's really one of the famous React developers, publishing stuff but anyways, yeah, you should follow him on Twitter if you want to get news about React and stuff. But anyways, so this is like Reach Router. This is also another package. So as far as I remember, there is these two packages and they are super famous. Personally, I prefer Reach Router. That's a personal preference, but for the sake of simplicity and also for the sake of what people are using, we can just go with React Router. This is the most famous one. Okay? But there is alternatives. So let's start. Let's open I will create a new file or new directory called routes. Okay, and I will say oh, that's a folder. Okay, and I will create a new file for it. Let's say, for example, home.js, and let's create a new file about .js. Okay, we are good. We are good. We can open this one here, close it from here. We are ready to go. So in the index, So we need to install the dependency. So if you use so what you should do is you go here and you can see that you can install it with npm install React Router
In a terminal.
in the terminal precisely. It's clear. You need to go to the terminal and install it. But with the code sandbox, I can just add it here. I can say React. Okay.
How do
You just say add dependency.
Okay.
But if you will be working locally, so you just say npm install React Router DOM. Okay. I will give you the guide. Class 7. Oh, you already did. Who did that? It's you?
Yeah, me.
Okay. So I'll just this is the quick start. If you want to install create React app, but this is like if you already have an app, you should just do this. And when you do this, you will have it as dependency. And basically, React Router DOM. It's called the React Router. It's a famous name, but the package itself called React Router DOM because it's for the browser. There is React Router native, so it's branded about React Router, but there is two packages: one for native, one for web. We are using web, so it's called. So let's import it. Let's say import X from React Router DOM. Okay. So what does?
There's a small question. I
Yeah.
mean, probably it's not related to this, but is it okay if someone uses code sandbox for every project and everything?
It's up to you.
But
It's about coding. It's not about where you code.
It's a good thing. I mean, it's not
Well,
something-
in real projects, you will not be able to do that because in real project you will have love code and like proprietary code and stuff.
Okay.
It's not public on GitHub and something. So, but where you code, it doesn't matter. It's about the code that you produce. You know what I mean? You use Atom, VS Code, online, not online, offline. It's so. If we go to just let's say that we are learning. I don't know it. So React Router DOM is published to npm, so you can install it wherever. So we've installed it. You can see here that we import browser router, route, and link. So yeah, and these are the three main things that we will use today. There is no fourth thing. So browser router. So you know what this as means? Just
because it's not a default.
Change the name.
It's not a default,
Just
so you
change the
change the name.
it's not related to default.
Okay.
No,
It's only changing name, as you said. So if it's too much for me to type browser router, so I would say as router.
Sure.
It's just very small.
But if
So I can say as x, and would be like x dot x dot.
Okay.
yeah, but if it's not about naming, so if you would at the default, you can change the name anyway without doing as.
Yeah,
So
but this
it's
is not a
it's
default.
Not default.
This is not a default.
Yeah, it's not a default.
Yeah.
So that's why he did add the.
Yeah, but if it's a default, you will change the name yourself as you like,
Okay.
because default means it doesn't have any name. Well, default. You know what default means? Default means this. You're saying like this. This is what default. You are importing default. But anyways, as because we want to change the name. Okay, it's too much to type browser route. It's too big. We can so let's import it. So let's say browser router as router. Okay.
Root. Route.
Router.
because you didn't use it, I think.
You can copy paste.
You know, that's smart. Only few developers know how to do that. It's even difficult to copy and paste with this. Only really developers can do that. But anyways, so we have we will delete only. So the first step is you go to your application, the whole application, and you wrap it in a router.
But I think something is wrong because
We-
yes.
Yeah, it's not highlighting, but probably it's a
Because you don't use
You're
the
not
road,
using it.
huh?
Okay.
You're not using it. Yeah.
It's disappear.
if you want to,
Okay.
we can go this and refresh, and we have the router here.
So,
Good to go.
yeah.
Good to go. So yeah, we have router. The first step is to actually wrap your whole application in. Yeah.
Yes.
Take it easy.
You win.
What time is it?
Oh.
That's what I said.
I think it's broken.
Lahkom,
You can take it easy. Grab a chair if you want. Yeah, it's fine.
Johanna is the best.
So what you should do is, this is your app, the main app. You wrap your whole application in a router. So if you have like if this is like the app, this is the main component. You wrap your main component, or at least anything that you do with routing, it should be under the route component. So you should render the route component, and under it you can do many things. We will see exactly why, but let's go and do this. Or let's be lazy and do it here. Make sense? We did it there. We wrapped our own app with. So I could do it here. I could also do it here.
Which one is the safest?
What?
Which one is the safest? I mean, the
Everything is safest, but it's up how you are coding, what you are coding, what's your purpose. So sometimes you cannot put it here, and you cannot even put it here.
Innovation.
For example, like in my company, we have routes. So we have server-side routes, and for each route, there is a React application that has routes.
So
So
it's safe to put in.
depends. Like at least this is the simple one. You just wrap it in your app. You can also put it here. You can put it here. Like you say router, and you wrap. But you need to wrap where you need to use it.
I think this one is much better.
Because I want to keep this one clean. This is like mostly, but we can also extract this and render. Well, yeah. So the first step is to do that. Let's see if it's working. It's working. If we go to React, we have a browser router here. Make sense? It's wrapping our whole application, and we have router after that. And we have context provider, and we have stuff. This is like stuff by React router. But what you should get is, I need to wrap my app in a router. I did that. It's good.
In order to control it with the
Yeah.
path thing. and
Yeah,
everything.
exactly.
Okay.
So the second thing is to create pages-ish. So I created home and about. So I will say import normal component from React. Okay. And say class about, or say function about return h2 about. Okay, and we can say export default. I can do the same for home and name it home here and home here. Makes sense.
And export it.
Export default, export
Okay.
default. And I will import it here. I will say import about. Oh, let's do a trick. This is
Put it in a component folder. Yes.
no what I'm trying to achieve at least is like creating new folder here,
Yes.
new file, sorry, called index.js,
Okay.
and you say import
Everything, and then it import as a default index.
import import about from import home from home.
What about the React? You don't need to.
No, we are not using JSX here. You need React when you are doing this. And you want to extend stuff. But here, this is normal JavaScript. This is like A plus B. I don't need React to do A plus B.
But what about just having a component and having everything inside and importing from the component?
Yes.
What do you
So
mean?
if you have like a folder, and you have every component inside,
Yeah.
and you import from the.
We have a folder with every component inside. We have a folder called routes,
Yeah, yeah.
and we have two components inside.
Yeah, something like okay, importing from the route.
Yeah, I want to import from the routes. I don't want to say import from route / about.
If you just import from the route, won't it it's not possible?
No, I don't think so, because you need to create a folder and export it here. So we will say export about export home. Okay. Now we can go to index and say import from
Index.js.
Router.
No.
from routes.
Just a second.
We will import from the routes folder,
Okay, yes.
and we will import about and home.
In
Okay.
the future, if you had to add any page, you can add it here.
Yeah.
Easily.
So instead of like going, if you, for example, like this is simple, but in every large application, you will have like route, home, component, container, really nested stuff. So if you don't need, if there is like a lot of folders inside route, you can just go and say import from route, without going like, let's say if we have deep folders here, you don't need to go really deep.
But here you refer to the
Routes.
router. Yes, but you put all things in the
Index.
index.js.
So routes, it's like routes.index. It's the same thing. This and this are the
That's
same.
why
So
you.
even if you didn't write in the index.js, you could achieve that. You didn't?
Yeah, but if I will import from this, it's like importing from this.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah. The thing is like you need to get is like these are components.
Okay.
I need to export them here, so I can import them from routes. So I'm not doing this so I don't need to type. This is typing more, but this is more structured. So if you have, for example, here home product or home, I can say here home as home product, at least, or no, yeah, well I can do that. You know what I mean? So this is like it's abstracting the route folder. So if someone is, because in large application you will have like hundreds of folders.
Yeah.
So you don't need to go inside the folder. You have an index file next to the folder that defines what this folder is exporting, regardless of what's inside the folder. Maybe you have a component called menu, but it's the user menu. It's not the menu. It's called menu inside the folder, but it's a user menu. So this is a way to abstract. This is not so we can type less. This is so we can actually have, because eventually in large applications you will have a lot of folders and nested folders, and that will make it really. So you will.
So instead of doing every time router / this like.
And that, it's not also about every time. It's like you don't need to go to the folder, because like I have a lot of components. You don't need to click this, and you will see hundreds of components with folders. No, you refer to the index and you see what's the index is exporting. Done. You know what I mean? I don't need to do this. Index routes / user / menu. Oh, there is a menu. Okay, where is the menu? Oh, it's inside test. You get the idea? So it's like abstracting. So I have route.
In line 3 also they use it like that one. In line 3. For example.
Yeah, kind
is
of. Yeah, exactly. It's providing you with I'm importing this and I'm importing this. You don't need to go and yourself and define what's. But it's more of a convention. If you don't like it, don't do it. This is nothing wrong about this. If you don't want to define this and import it straight away from there, it's up to you.
It's more clean.
Yeah, especially when you go with large, like at least in my company, we have like so many folders, so much, like a lot, like literally a lot. A lot of times, like at least we had this mistake that I was creating components that already exist. So like I was creating a tab component, and someone else already created before. Why? because there's so many folders, so many files. I couldn't know that this component exists. But if it's clean and exported like this, you know, in this folder there is this component, in this folder there is this component, and we can have even routes inside routes have home as a folder, and inside home we can have user home, product home.
They didn't describe, for example, in index file.
No, what's
is
in-
the image?
no.
It should be.
It should at least like I prefer it this way.
Because when you.
I don't-
see
I don't
the
need-
index. You can understand which
Yeah.
component.
I don't want to go and read one because we have
There's no
we have like folders with 50 components, 55 components,
No.
and it's like it's too much.
Do you group them according to function?
Yes, we are doing that, but even that grouping them, people have different ideas. I want to group them in home. Someone is like, no, it's logic. We can group them in logic. It's like, it never is like went well. It's not good. So we say slash routes. Okay. So now we will render these two components. We will remove this. Say hello me. I only say hello to myself. And I have home. It's good. You have two components. Every component is rendering string or an H2. Good. So now what I want to do is I want to have slash home and slash about. Okay? So the way I should do it is I should have a route component.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
But why you write in line 12 and 13, you write home, but in the main page you have a title of home and page.
Yeah,
Why you have it?
because home is returning
Home.
H2 in home, and the other one is returning H2 about. This is why I said it's rendering a string. So here I can import route. As you can see here, there is route, and the route, it's just a simple component like this.
Road pass. Okay, exactly.
It's just a component like this, where you give it a path, just like home. Let's say home is slash.
Yeah.
Path, so it's a component. It's not made by us. It's made by someone else. Okay, but it's also like extend component, but it's written by someone else. We have route. We give it a path. When I want to display it, slash home slash anti-slash, right. And I give it a component. Which component I want to render if it's home.
Home.
So I will say I want to render home. This one.
Yeah.
So I give it literally a component. And a path. Exact means like I want this exact path. So for example, if let's take it with this one. If I have this, I will say here slash about. Okay? And give it the about component. What does exact means is I want if we have, for example, user slash about, it doesn't work. I want exactly slash about. I don't care if it's about, it's in. So if I have like a slash user slash about, this will not work.
But it doesn't work.
No, but you can have it work. You can have route dynamically based on. So I want a route that include about. It doesn't matter where it's including about. You know what I mean? It's like I want a route that includes, for example, this one slash about slash user slash one.
Okay.
Does it include about? Show my component, because it's like conditional. You know what I mean? So either you want it exact, so you want special like exactly slash about, or you want a route that includes slash about. You don't care. And a use case for this, for example, you want any route that include error, and you show a specific component. You don't care if it's slash error exactly or slash error inside. As long as there's error, you render an error component.
Okay.
So it's different strategies how you can take them. But for us, Usually you want to match the exact. This is really a rare use case. Make sense? So we can see already that about disappeared.
This is the first page.
If we go to about, we have about now.
Oh. Cool.
Make sense?
Yeah.
We are rendering and just remember it's a path name and it's checking if it's hello, if it's home. It's just a path name.
Is it possible, for example, pass two components? For example, home.
You can create another component. You can create another component that groups them both.
Okay.
But you should don't think about special APIs that I need to pass two components
Oh.
because usually in React you have one entry point. So always think about one entry point. It's not good to have two. Who's the parent of these two? If they want to communicate, how they will.
Oh.
You will enter a hell of. So if you just think about this, always React is a tree. It's not a tree that starts with two. It's a tree that starts with one.
Okay.
So
So like
Maybe you should
texting
put it
home,
at one.
and then there is a.
if you have
button
home,
called about.
home can render multiple things. Home can render to do and user list.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, okay.
So this is the idea,
Yeah.
and we will go that path. Make sense? It's clear. Now we are rendering stuff conditionally, but usually in every app there is two things. We render app conditionally. This is the first step. The second step is navigating between these two things. Click about, you go to about. You click home, you go to home. Make sense? It's like links. An A tag.
Interior.
What? Yeah, interior, precisely. Yes, it's a link in my application. You will say maybe I can do it with the. So if I go home, I will say. So let's say here div home, and I can go and say a tag with an href and say test or just a hashtag. Let's say about.
Please write something else because it makes it a little confusing.
I want this link to go to about.
Okay.
Okay, go to
Yeah.
about. Happy? He's happy. Okay? So if we go here and we say we go back, we go to about, it's refreshing the whole page.
Refresh.
It's refreshing the whole page. You can see. It's refreshing the whole page.
This is what they call a single page application.
Hmm?
This is what they call a single page application.
This is not a single page application because it's refreshing the page. You can see. The whole page is refreshed. Hello should
But
stay.
this is normal. Yeah?
This is normal.
Because you are going to the new page.
Exactly. This is normal. This is normal. But I want to click on it and change only the dynamic part about React. I don't want the whole page to refresh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I click about, hello should stay, only home should change. Because they are in different routes.
Okay.
This is what we are trying to achieve. It's like Facebook, when you click on something, every other thing will stay. Or Twitter or Netflix or something. So the way you do it is, we go to the code here. You don't use an A tag, you import from React router DOM. You import link. It's like an A tag. And instead of link, you say here link and link. And you say, instead of href, you say to. I'm linking to. At least if I remember the API correctly. Yeah, it's exactly it's. So now you can see it's not refreshing. Can you see? Literally, hello means staying there. The whole page is not changing.
But
If you open,
go to the React, you will see
yeah,
the page will change.
it's only the div.
Yeah.
This div.
It's only the div is changing.
Even the first time when you did it, like the whole link,
It was refreshing everything.
yeah, but now you just sort of
It's an SPA. Like you are not going to the server. It's all changing just with JavaScript. So JavaScript is taking this, opening this, and then it's just JavaScript changing stuff.
I remember, yeah, it's like doing you hiding components like they don't see
Yeah,
it for the user.
exactly. Make sense? And we can go to the about and say go to home. So here we say slash and go to home.
But in reality, people they made a navigator and put it in the.
That's up to you. That's up to you. You can group these two links in a component. We can do that. It's fine. But I'm just trying to show you the API, the surface.
Yeah.
After that, you group 2 links, 3 links. That's really up to you.
The dot slash is it only inside for the home?
What?
The dot slash.
Yeah, because like we
The main
said,
page.
we said here that slash means home
Oh,
because we said slash home
because I don't understand that one.
because it's the the root. It's like the root.
I mean, because I was just wondering with the slash and about, but you didn't write the home. So,
Yeah, because it's slash means home. If we had home for it, I would write home.
It's like saying home is slash cons home equals slash.
Yeah. It's the same thing with this one. We're importing from routes, not route slash index. Anyways, we can go here and say go to about, go to home. I can literally change in between them like, so fast. Is it clear? This is sort of the basic about
This one you can think about like a nav bar. You
Yeah.
click on the link and
this is literally a navigation bar.
yeah, you click on the link and it change.
You can send it to the right, to the left.
We can have multiple links here. Go about, and we say go home, go about. Like you can style this as a navigation. It's beyond. Clear? So let's progress. Yeah. This is just if you want to nest them. Yeah. So another thing is most of the time you will not have static routes, but you will have dynamic routes. In the sense, the route, so let's say you have user, like Facebook. Facebook, they have profile, slash the name of the user. But that's dynamic. That's not something you know exactly. You cannot hard code all the possible values here. So it's dynamic. It's called a dynamic fragment. So here we can name it as a variable. So we can say 2 dots here. So it's, for example, let's say it's user or username or it's a variable. Let's call it username. You prefix it with the column. Okay? What does this mean? Is now we can go to profile and type anything about it here. And it will still go to profile. Why? Because we want profile and anything else stored in a variable.
That's specific.
Yeah,
The parameter.
a parameter. Yeah. Make sense? It's like Netflix when you say movie slash movie 1 title, I don't know, Ocean 12, Ocean 13, I don't know.
Take it.
Yeah. So let's try to do that. Let's try to get this, because like usually you need to access this one. So let's build a profile page, kind of. So let's say profile. Okay. And we can put it here. Index, import profile from
capital letter. You,
Okay, we can create new file. No,
You have to
No,
export
it's
and
not.
just a second. Just because I've copied this JS, I can go and export this as you said now. It's this one, profile. And we can go, for example, to home
but
and
it's not,
copy
it's
it.
not right. I mean, the name of the profile is not capital letter. So you're asking it to for a folder that doesn't exist.
I'm importing it from profile.
But even if you do it as a capital letter over there,
Is it capital?
Yes.
Okay, it's I'm sorry.
but it actually changed something.
Yeah, but that's not uniform. You should have a uniform. Cannot start small,
Yeah,
small,
don't-
capital,
yeah.
capital. Okay, let's go with this. It's fine, but usually you should have a uniform. Profile. So we can name it profile, and here profile. Okay. So this is just a simple component. So component will take props. Okay. We can console.log props. We are not doing anything, but just console.log props. Okay.
We don't have any props now.
Yes. We will see. We have username profile. Don't say I closed it. So if we go to so from home, I can say go to about. Okay, and go to profile. Okay. This is super ugly. Like this is the most ugliest thing that I saw in my life. But anyways, it's fine. We have I don't know why the two dots are here, like CSS. But so we have profile. Is it rendering anything? It should render. It should render profile. It's not rendering profile. Why? So clearly it doesn't work. Because it should at least render profile, like rendering home. And why it doesn't work? Because
Because it's expecting an argument to call with.
yeah, like it's profile slash something. So if I go to not this one, index, or sorry, home, I should give it something here. Okay, so let's say test. Because it's profile slash something. It's not just profile. Still doesn't work. Yeah, because yeah.
Not exact.
Yeah, this works. Now we have profile, and we have props. It's a whole world of props.
Location.
Okay, where these props are coming from? Even that I didn't pass anything. So to reason about it, this is the profile component. It's receiving props. I don't know where these props are coming from. Where is this component rendered?
Maybe it's just for
In the home,
router.
in the router.
It's rendering here. It's rendered here, this component. So I'm not rendering the component. I'm not doing this profile stuff.
Yeah.
React router is doing that, and it's passing it some props.
Component.
So you can imagine that inside React router, there is this match equal location equal stuff like that. So it's not us responsible for that. It's React router. Cool. And React router is giving our component a hand of props. Let's explore these props. So we have history, we have location, we have match, we have this static context that we don't care about. We have these three. Okay? Location is the same location that we saw before. Remember? Information about like window.location. History is the history of the browser. So a browser has a history. when you click on the link, so just imagine that the history, it's like a plate, lot of plates. When you open the browser, it's empty. You go to google.com, there is 1. You go to facebook.com, there is 2. You go to this, there is 3. There is 4. There is 5. So it's a history. So history is a stack. It's called a stack. So it's a list of stuff. And when you go back, you start going down. It's called the history API. It's an HTML5 writing API. Yeah, so you can see here. So so let's say I'm in google.com, I've typed test, and I went to the Orkla test. Okay, now if I will go to the browser and say history.back, it will take me back once. History.back, it will take me to Google. History.back, it will take me to the one that it was previously. You get the idea? So it's just like, it's a list of stuff that I've visited. So I can go back and forward. I can go forward now. I'm advancing.
So if I
Google.
You don't need to do it.
Like,
you have it. You
no, I
can
was
go
just
to
asking.
Exactly. And these buttons are the same that we are doing here.
Yeah.
If you want to build these buttons inside your application or edit them, this is how you should do it.
Yeah.
So history is a way to manipulate the history. Go back, go forward. For example, go. I don't know. You can say go 4 or -4. So you can go 4 steps before, or 4 steps forward. Make sense?
The back is the method that take.
No, it's called go. There's back, forward. It's one
go,
step,
go.
and there is go. Go take a number.
But yes,
Yeah.
in React,
This is not
just-
related to React. This is just a browser
no,
API.
I want to in React we didn't change the routes, but just we changed the component. So
But-
how they understand that we, for example,
But we are changing
go
the
from
route.
home-
We are changing the route. For example, if you are in home,
Okay.
if you are in home, and you click go about, we are going to about.
But it's
But it's not
mentioned
changing the
in
application.
History.
What?
It mentioned history of
Yeah.
Okay.
So if we go, if you can see here, we are going back and forth. It's like manipulating the history without refreshing pages. So,
Something like pagination. For pagination, we can use this.
you can use this for, like, when you are in Facebook, you go to your profile and you go to someone. It's like you are using this. It's called routing in general. Any routing. You're on Netflix.
Separated from the component.
No, there is nothing to do here with components. React is just using the browser. You know, so it's not React Native. Any framework has this. Angular, Vue, they all. This is why learning React is like learning 50% or 60% of the other frameworks, because they all play in the same field. It's like different players in a football game. They all play the same. They all want to build a web application. They all want to do the same, but they do it differently. So when you learn basic stuff and things, it's clear? Okay, so yeah. Is it clear? And to be honest, like when I started working with React and stuff, I didn't know anything about history and stuff. I think I've learned about it 7 months ago or 8 months ago, because in my company we needed a way. So we had a drawer. You know a drawer that like goes like outside and inside, like canvas drawer. So I wanted, when I go back, to close the drawer. So this was my path to learn about history. But before that, I never needed, and I never learned it, and I don't have any reason why I should learn it. If you're not learning something for the sake of using it, you're just wasting your time. You know what I mean? You should learn something that you will use eventually. You should not just, I will learn this and Java and this and this.
Because
It's
you
like,
will never know if you
will forget it.
use them or not.
you will forget it. Like I've studied 4 years of computer science in the university. I don't remember anything. Why? Because someone was saying, learn this, learn this, learn this. I left the university, I don't remember. Literally, I don't remember anything. So, I'm just saying that you should not rush and say, oh, you know about history, I need to learn history. Will you use it? Will it benefit you now about learning it? No. But for the case of React, we don't need it. I'm just trying to explain that it's using history. If you go to an interview or something, you will know exactly what's used. But you don't need.
Because it's kind of I'm not saying stupid because nothing is stupid, but if you already have it, the browser already give it to you, to go forward and go.
Yeah. As long as you will not use
you
it.
don't need it to construct a new one to do it for your own.
Yeah.
I mean, doesn't mean.
Maybe you will need it for your application because some application needs that. Like I told you, if you want to close stuff and open stuff based on the browser, you can do that. But if you don't need it, it's fine. There is no rush to learn stuff.
Is that possible to pass an ID of a previous page in this,
Yeah, you can do that.
in the history?
Yeah, you can do that. It's called push state.
Okay.
You can say push state. So you can see here that we are changing the route without actually refreshing the page. Okay? This is something called history.push state. And when I go back, it's history.pop state. It's an event, sorry, it's called go back, but it's an event. It triggers the event. So you can say history.add event listener or window.add event listener pop state. So you can go back. Anyways, it's clear?
Okay, like everything is practically JavaScript.
What?
So everything is practically JavaScript.
Yeah, it's JavaScript. React is not, it's JavaScript. There is nothing special about React. React just help you build this component, render this component. But all the heavy lifting about fetching and stuff is JavaScript. It's literally JavaScript. We're good? Let's go back and say we are in profile. We are here. We go to profile, and we have this. So history is what we said. History, browser history. Location is information about where I am. I'm in profile/test. Search is the query params. So if I will have q equal 5, I will have search q equal 5, 4, not 4, 5, but yeah, 4. I'm confusing myself. Hash is if I have a hash, and state is something internal to the browser. Make sense? So if you want to do sorting or something based on this, like for example Google, they have Q to search, you can do it with this one. But what's really the most important thing here is match. Match is giving you exact, just exact. It's giving you the params. Which params are here?
Test.
Why it's test? So if I will type Yunus, history match params username is Yunus.
Yeah.
Why?
Because you use columns.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this I'm capturing the variable. It's like give me this variable.
That's what you're requesting for.
Yeah, like you capture it, and React Router will give it to you. This is what you asked for.
So, but
If I will have slash
Okay.
slash friend friend, I'm saying slash Yunus slash for example Badr. I have two. I have Yunus and friend because I'm capturing two variables. So you can see that all the dynamic stuff that is going inside the browser is just handled by this.
can you go back to the program? Yeah. So in this case, when you call it as a username and friend as a variable that they store the whatever
Yeah.
you're gonna write
Yeah.
the parameters. But then if you go to the profile page,
It will give you just one. Or
but if you go to code sandbox.
yeah, this the home.
No, on the code sandbox.
Oh, okay.
If you go to the profile.js,
Yes.
you have to initialize it. Even on the
Yes.
what
In
did
the
you- what did you write
if
the test?
this one.
Okay, you have to initialize.
Yes. Because
You
it's a
have
link. But now we are just. I'm not willing to do that because I will remove this. I will remove this. But I'm just showing you.
But test, you can take it off. Test.
No.
So you have to initialize.
Not initialize. You need to go to a route. It's like to go to this route you need profile slash something. To go to this route you need about. To go to this route you need slash. So it's like every route has a specific thing that you need to go to. So here I need profile slash something. I cannot just go to profile. I need to go to profile slash something. It's necessary.
That slash something was test before.
Yeah.
So how? So it store test as a username.
Yes, because I'm capturing it here.
So that mean you have to initialize it as the first username variable.
It's not initializing. It's not initializing. It's React router taking part of the browser. It's not initializing. It's only
Probably
here. This is the URL. This is a URL.
Yeah.
But React router will go and say, oh, I have this. I'll put it here. I have this. And user give me this before. Or before. React router will say, does profile test matches slash? Does match slash?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, no,
Next.
no, yeah.
Does match slash about?
No.
No. Does it match this?
Yes.
We don't know. It's complex. So React router will do this and compare it. Profile match profile. Oh, I have a dynamic fragment here. It's called username, and I have it here. So username will be test. This is what's happening. So it's React router is taking the URL and destructuring it, but the URL is just string. But because React router is a bit smart about like figuring out and dividing stuff, but it's not. Don't think about it as a variable or something.
Yeah,
Maybe it
because,
could be.
because what I'm saying is we know that there should be something after slash profile, okay. And what I was thinking that if you write it on the URL, okay, you write it on the URL profile slash something. That something will substitute the
Precisely.
you know
So we
what
have
I'm
Yeah.
to make it as a dynamic.
Could be. Maybe when you say go to my profile, is it dynamic?
No.
It's not dynamic,
It's a
but
static.
it's static. But when you say go to a friend, it's dynamic.
Dynamic, yeah.
You know what I mean? But don't think about it as variable stuff. It's URLs, and these URLs are dynamic. So in this case, we will follow Badr advice, and we will say, for example, here, profile name. This is what Badr is talking about. Say Yunus. And we say to URL. Is this clear? I'm just using a variable here, and the variable is slash profile slash something dynamic. And that dynamic is a variable.
Repeat again.
No,
What?
No, what I'm saying is that when you
Should we repeat it again?
Just I will repeat. Okay, I couldn't hear you. Yeah. So it's just there was a string here. I made it a variable, and I put a dynamic thing here, which is Yunus. So at the end, URL will be like this. URL will be like URL equal slash profile slash Yunus. This and this are the same. You get the idea?
okay,
And we could, yeah, go, yeah.
when we execute, you know, the URL, we are new do the slash. You are executing the get method for the server, you know, isn't it?
No, it's everything is
No.
happening in the browser.
That's because what I was thinking. Probably I'm wrong. I don't know, because when you do slash profile slash and the parameter, you know, username, like a dynamic variable that you store the variable that you want to get. If we can get the variable when you type it on the URL, so whatever you type, it will store it as a variable.
Yeah,
But you are not doing it. You have to call Yunus for accessing it.
yeah.
If you do just profile slash and that's it.
we
and then-
tried that before. We tried to go to profile slash before, and it didn't work
That's why it doesn't work.
because
You have to initialize it.
no,
I mean, probably I'm not saying the right, correct.
like you are trying to make it variable and stuff. It's not initialized. It's called the URL, and the URL will be parsed. You know what I mean? It's not like that thing is an array and it has an item. No, it's just a URL.
But you know,
And that URL is has a dynamic fragment.
Yeah.
So, for example, are you initializing about? You're not like it's not like that you are giving it a value or something. It's by chance. So, for example, I can have
Excuse me.
I can
Can you give more example in other websites that where are you going to use?
Facebook. All the websites that you can think about, they use this.
Also GitHub is like that.
Like if you said no.
If you go to Facebook
Okay.
/Yunus Miliani, my name.
Okay.
If you go to Facebook, Badr. If you go to Facebook, test. This is a dynamic part.
Okay.
That it's parsed from the browser, it's divided and it's taken and give it to you as a variable.
What do you mean by the initialization?
What do you mean, Badr? Is like it doesn't work just like this.
Let me do it as simple as possible. Go to now you made unit as your name, okay? Go to profile and it work, okay? Unit, give you unit there.
But if we will do this, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work, okay? But if you do profile / Badr,
It works.
so in this case, unit doesn't make sense now. You know that's what I'm saying.
I wanted to make it, it's like naming a variable X or something.
Okay, so go to home. Go to home again. Go to home again. No, React app in the application.
Oh, sorry.
Go to home again. No, home. Just
Oh,
go
sorry.
back there.
Yeah.
And then you do / Don't push on the profile. The / profile / Badr. Yeah. It works. So
Yeah.
in this case, I mean, unit doesn't really make sense in this case.
No, it's dynamic fragment.
That's what I don't get. You know what I'm saying? That unit or that whatever you wrote that
Why-
doesn't make sense.
It's dynamic because we are doing this.
Yes.
Because it's using
Yes,
it
it's better to.
You can write what
Anything.
you want.
anything.
I can go here and say
I know, but why you have to write the unit or whatever
No,
before?
this is.
It's just an
but it's
example.
not because
that
What do you mean by before?
You needed to compare it or something?
Just example.
That was an example what the user requests and what's the general case, and React Router will match them.
No, he has the problem with that const. You can delete that const. Yes,
What?
equals unit.
It's just
You mean this one?
Yes, you can delete it.
Yeah, I can delete it and put something like.
No,
Now you don't have it.
yeah.
he's talking about what you were comparing.
no,
to.
you think you didn't get as well. It's not about, you said that deleting everything and leave only profile.
It's just
No, you can write.
No,
instead
without
of
writing
US,
anything.
You can write undefined. Okay.
No,
The
like this.
profile name.
This
the
doesn't have a URL.
Well, yeah.
This doesn't. There is no URL that it's called profile here.
Okay, so that's why you use it to match it.
To match it, yes.
Okay, so
Because
it
it's a
has
u-
to match the path because
Yeah, it's like this one. It's like /about needs to match /about.
Okay, so you have to what I was saying initialize. You have
No, you need to match a specific URL.
Okay, so
You get the idea?
it should have something like
It's like when we did.
after profile to
Yeah.
give it to you.
So it can match this format. If I have, for example, friend as we did before, I need two things. Because it's a URL that you need to follow the convention.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. With initialize, I was saying that you need to write something before.
No, you need to match the
choose-
URL. It's
Huh?
not initializing. You need to
Yeah,
match a
yeah.
URL.
Just
Yeah.
as well understand it.
Yeah, like you are trying to make it a variable and it's X and you initialize it. No, it's a URL, and you need to follow this format. You need to have profile with something. You know what I mean? It's a URL. You're not like trying to have a for example, here profile /test. It's static. It's always profile /test. But here we decided to not have test, but have a dynamic fragment. And if you want a dynamic fragment, so you need to pass your dynamic fragment to match this specific URL.
Okay.
Anyways, is it clear? Yeah, no, it's good to actually like raise the hand and see like I don't agree with this or something. Like, clear?
Yes.
So let's display the username. Because we said that in profile we have props, and props has match. Okay? We saw that before. That history, props, has history, location, and match. And match has params. So match.params it gives me this.
So you can actually say if it's Badr, if it's
Yeah,
Kenneth,
it's like
if it's
Facebook.
this,
If it's this the user, if it's
show
this
me
user.
these components.
Yeah.
Um,
Make sense? We are getting the variable here. So what we can do here is, for example,
Profiles of bath.
what?
You can show profile of bath.
Yeah. We can put it, for example, here.
Nadia, yes. Nadia.
Badr, you don't have it in Iran? Badr,
No, we have that.
impossible, Badr is everywhere.
It's in the sky. So we can do this. Get the name, params, dot username. I need the username.
Just a second.
So whatever you write, it will say profile.
Yeah. So if I would say, I went with the template. So Badr will say hello Badr. Yunus will say hello Yunus.
But it's still refreshing now.
Because I'm doing
Oh, you doing it.
I'm doing this. Is it clear? For everyone? So with this you can go actually further and, for example, like fetch specific stuff. So let's say that so let's go to GitHub. Or we can do something. We can say just a second. Yeah, but that will not are like redirect location. Yeah, so we can say replace. So let's say wherever we have here as a name. So let's make this a class. Okay? We can name it a class. Extends React component. Put this in the render. And use this dot props here. This is a class now. Okay? So I want in the component did mount.
You get information from API, yes?
What the idea that I have is I will send you to GitHub based on which params you have on the URL, which is kind of the same as loading stuff. So here we can say going to name, and we can say name here too, and from what I saw on, we can say window, so we can say location to replace, and we can say google.com. It doesn't give us the correct, but if we say HTTPS,
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. So if we take this, we put it here, location.rep. I always try to prefix it with window because in React Word it's so confusing to use globals. So here, what I will say is like, so I will go to github.com. Yeah, this mine. So this is my URL. So here we will have this static thing, but this is dynamic.
Okay.
We'll put name here.
But it depends if you have the same profile name in the website and in the.
Yeah, like it's up to you to put the right name. We are not trying to check that.
Okay.
So if I will put here /profile /Yunus Meliani, it will take me to GitHub.
Can you show the code? Please?
Of course. No, you know. It's mine. So what-
Instead, I did the href.
Yeah, you can do whatever you like. I like calling functions. I like calling
Can you
functions.
explain why when you click on that it went to your profile page?
Because I'm saying window.location.replace. What does this?
Replace
Do-
the same.
Yeah, it will send you to this URL. You can type google.com, it will send you to google.com.
No. Wherever you were when you write your name on the link. No.
Yeah.
Yes, come back to the, for example, home page. Oh, you write it by yourself.
Yes,
Okay.
I did
Yeah.
this.
Okay.
I did this specifically.
Okay.
It's not magic.
Okay.
That it's no. You are right. It's not magic. So what we can do is, for example, can you? It's who has a simple GitHub profile name.
Oh no.
It's not his. It's not simple.
Clearly.
Simple GitHub name.
Some you know that.
That's too long for me.
Fast. TK. Yeah, that's easy. TK.
Hacker fish.
That's it.
Yeah.
Sure.
So we are going to his profile, hopefully.
This is done.
Is it clear?
Yeah. This is done.
So you can see first.
Go discover.
You can see first that when we load this page, first we show going to. After that, it will go. Why? Because we have replace and we have a did amount.
When after
one.
it's rendering, it
Yeah.
will give you.
Is it clear?
Yeah.
So we can fetch specific data. So let's try and fetch specific data from GitHub. Okay. So let's say get a single user. So we can do this. So if we do api.github.com, yes, this is correct. Okay. So instead of doing this replace, here we will say fetch user. Okay. Const fetch user. Username. We say fetch. Username. Clear? Then response.json.
But there is no need because it's already a JSON file, isn't it?
No, this doesn't convert it to JSON. This is parsing it to JSON because it's a string.
Oh yeah, you're right. Because now we want to access the data. And
Yeah,
do
exactly.
the
Because usually it's a string, so this is not like converting.
Yeah, right.
Because if it's not JSON and you do JSON, it will throw an error.
Yeah.
When you fetch, actually you will
String.
get a string.
Yeah, because
HTTP only transfers strings.
A string.
There is no numbers, no anything.
Okay. Then you use this
it's
then
parting.
to change it
An
to
object.
JSON file.
Yeah.
Okay. The third the second then what you use that
What? Which second?
after this then we will
It's the second I can access it, do stuff, set state, console.log, anything I can
But
do.
why we cannot use this then?
Because this returns a promise.
the
Response.json will also return a promise because sometimes it's too big to be parsed. So JavaScript will not block the user. So this is returning a promise. So I can say JSON.then. I can do it here and say then inside it.
okay
If you can see here.
okay
But I don't want to do that because if you return a promise,
yeah
it will wait for that promise too. So the then here will wait for this promise and this promise, the first promise. So fetch will give us a promise
okay.
about the URL.
Yeah.
We get the URL. We say response.json. We give us a promise. When it's done, we can use it.
Okay.
Okay? And we can say console.log. So basically, it's better if we do this here. If we call fetch user
Yes, okay.
and we give it name. And we use the then here. It's better.
Because we wanted to fetch after it render.
Yeah, and after that, I want me to consume the result, not inside the function. Make sense?
Yeah.
So you can say console.log response.
Please show the code again. Okay, just a second. Okay. Okay.
It's just a simple API. Go to profile. So if we say profile/view fail to fetch. Oh yeah. Because it's complaining about eventually about HTTP. Yeah. Now it's working.
Please show, please explain the error as well, because sometimes we have an error we cannot understand.
Yeah, this is just because I was requesting this.
Can you show the error and tell me how did you understand it's about the error?
This page was loaded over HTTPS, but request an insecure. This request has been blocked.
Okay, thank you.
It's self-explanatory.
But sometimes, if you have this kind of error, whatever kind of error, if you copy it entirely and
Yeah.
a lot of people, Stack Overflow, they do the same. So you find that,
Yeah, I do this. I do this all the time. Like sometimes I don't even read the error. I read it. I paste it on Stack Overflow. I open Stack Overflow and I read the error there. I don't see it even here. I don't try to see it.
Sometimes you don't see even what the problem is. You go
I don't care.
directly
Like
to the
just read it.
answer.
I can read it and also go and read Stack Overflow answers at the same time. So we have the data here. So an idea could be doing this. No. GitHub. So we have all the data. We can technically build a page like this now, because we have all the data here. So you can even see this one. It's my avatar URL. So what we can do is, let's say here we going to, we can say div image,
And the source will be
but we need to wait for something. We need to wait for the result. So we need to have state and wait for the result, because we cannot just do that. So we will say state. Just a second. We can say state
It was an object? No, it was a
state data
okay.
equal
Find it.
and define or something. Loading, true. Okay.
Yeah.
Here you can say
This dot
this dot set state. Data is response.
response dot
Loading, false.
Undefined.
The response should be response dot data.
It's in the case of GitHub, it's only the. So it depends on the API.
Okay.
Some APIs return data, some API returns items, some APIs doesn't return it on. You know what I mean? It that's not related to React. It's how you consume your API.
But why you change the loading to false?
Because it's not loading anymore.
Okay.
I'm done loading.
So that, yeah.
So here I can do something. I can say fetching name data. Okay. So if it's
Names.
I'm encountering also if there's S at the end, because if there's S at the end, you don't put an S. So I'm just doing this general, like I will not do like English grammar. I'm doing general cases. Take it easy, but it's not your language.
I'm doing my best.
So we say const data loading. If it's loading, we show this. Otherwise, we show this. It's the other ways. I'm
No, it was true.
That's right.
when prettier doesn't
Oh yeah, it should be the other thing.
this works. Oh yeah, I know why.
But if it's loading is true. Yeah, fair, yeah. That's it.
If the loading is true,
This is so confusing. No, it's not related to loading and something. Okay, let's structure it again. I will remove the image. I will remove this one. I will put it here. I put 5. This works. I will put a div. I'll put 2. This works too. If I will put an image, this should work too.
Oh, because you have to close it.
Yes.
Yeah.
True. Thank you, bud.
You're welcome.
So now, if it's loading, we show this. If it's not loading, that means we have the data.
what is you get the data, okay?
If it's not loading, we have the data.
And what is the data?
So in the data, we can say, for example, something called avatar URL.
And the one is called login.
So we can say
This dot dot.
data. No, we can just say data because we already got it from here. Yeah, we have my beautiful picture in the middle. Yeah. It was completely random, to be
And
honest.
you can do
It's random.
you can do an H1 with the name as well. So
Yeah.
You can know.
We can do so many things. We can, for example, make the image a bit smaller. We can go here, still the design.
Called avatar. Plus avatar with full avatar before you stay too far.
So we can give it a class name. Say picture. Avatar info. We can go to CSS. say width.
25.
Just say 15 or something. I don't want to see my picture that big, to be honest.
Make it blank website and store money from people.
What?
It's recording. Oh my god.
We are stealing design live.
Yeah. No, I
Because
said
the-
we can make a bank account website and store money from people.
You know why? Because
But
we are doing it
I'm
in
not
Manila.
gonna
You
do
can.
it, believe me.
Just a second.
It should be a block.
David's a blog. I will do something. I will say, oh, it's not SAS.
All of you
Yeah.
are your co-worker.
Cool. And we can say float.
No?
You will hate me because of the float, but let's remove this.
But nobody cares.
Yeah. Flow, please.
What do you think without me?
Flow, please.
Okay.
So we have also, we have the profile picture. We have
You know, in some website when we sign, they will go and they use our profile image
Yeah.
on their Facebook. They
Yeah.
use this kind of method.
yeah, they use your API.
Yeah.
Sorry, they use their API. So where's the login? So let's say name. Okay. First I will console. Data, and I will say here a P with data dot name.
No worries.
We have the data with the name. We can go with something a bit.
If you write the name will be De Pedro. It was the first time that I'm making something, you know. I should change it with my name and last name.
So we can say following followers. So we can put it in another P and say following.
Or you can do a span
Data.
with text and have
Yeah. Good luck doing that.
Yeah.
You'll do it for your homework. So data following, and we have followers. Data dot followers. Yeah. So this is like, and I can say here, for example, slash. You say hack.
Hack. Ash.
That's 6.
A. Okay. And hold on. A. S. H. And
Everybody needs to remember this. It's so important. It's so important for your career to remember his GitHub. And we have the same.
oh, look how many people are following me. It's De Pedro. I don't like it. Ash.
So you can go farther and design the whole page. Fetch repos, put this, how many, because we have all the info.
It's just a styling. You know?
What?
Just we have to work on the styling.
Yeah, exactly. It's more time. It's not more like thinking or anything. Just more time. Yeah, you are doing something in JavaScript.
So yes, yes, you are.
Because I did not understand the function before.
Oh. Yeah, when you don't use it in a professional context, it gets.
You know, actually, this promise it was very complicated. Yes? No?
Nope.
No? What?